Hey, my name is Joe Glanfield. I'm the Canadian coach, and this is Coach's Corner. So just finished Chicago. Team finished second. Great performance. Got really good results over two quite different days. Fourth and two first on the first day, and then today in a bit less wind, big wing. 3 seconds, so second overall, really good, really happy. So Bermuda, our first event, we finished third, which we were really happy with. So to come a step further was great. There were a few things we looked at from Bermuda that I think we managed to improve at this event. Number one was the starting. Number two was really just looking at how the back three communicate with each other, trying to get a bit more clarity on whose role is whose, and I think we improved that. That's super clear at this event. And then also just a bit of consistency on flying the boat and how we could take a little step up on our jibes and a little bit of a step up on our downwind speed. Yeah, so yesterday we had 3 really interesting races with the starting, where you could choose to do a short approach and stay inside the harbour entrance, or go outside the harbour entrance and get a faster approach, but you had to come through a narrow entrance in quite choppy water. We chose to do that one because we felt as though we could do it and it would be quicker, and there would be space to do it, and that worked really well for us yesterday. So first race, got a really good start. Second at the first mark, had a bit of a shaky jibe, and we basically came off the foils at the leeward mark, which lost us a lot of distance. And where we got it back really was we managed to sail quite a high mode that gave us just a 2 tack upwind when everyone else did a 3 tack upwind. So it not only did it save us a tack, it also gave us a split from the boats in front for the downwind, and then we got another 3 boats back on the downwind. So that was really it. It was getting that split that then got us back into that race. Yeah, I mean, race number 2, we got a really good start. I thought Phil managed that really well. He had a pretty tight situation with the French. And, you know, he's really good in those situations. He's very clear about what he's trying to achieve. And hit the line at speed, led at Mark 1, and never really looked back from there. You know, controlled the race really well. Controlled the boats behind, and it was a really sort of composed race, I thought. I guess it is part of the coach's role is always to make sure they're not getting too results orientated and just focusing on the processes that have made them be successful. So for me, it is part of my role just to make them really be able to look at not just the result, but why they got that result. What were the skills that they were doing in the boat that was actually making them successful, and hopefully that helps it become easier to repeat them. And also turning a critical eye on it, you know, and not just because your result was good. There's always things you can do better, and there were at this event, and there was in Bermuda, and there always will be. Yeah, so I mean, the physical demand is especially high on the front two. You know, they have to be big, powerful guys, and with a good aerobic capacity as well, and you know that means that they've got their own training program. They work hard in between events, and they need to arrive in top form. And actually, the demands are pretty high on all 6 of them, because even if they're not got a lot of load in what they're doing, the reality is they're crossing the boat a hell of a lot. It's a super high concentration level that's required all the time. They're getting pretty battered as well by the speeds that they're traveling at, the odd crash here and there. And Sail GP is just long days, you know, it's long, hard days from the moment you arrive to the moment you leave. So you need good stamina, because at the end of the day, you have to be at your best at the end, you know, that's when it really matters. And that's what the Aussies do so well, you know, is they always bring their best to that final race. Yeah, I think that, for Canada to come in and get two such good results wasn't particularly what we expected. I think, Phil Robertson and Chris Draper have obviously got quite a lot of experience, but the reality is the other four are new to SailGP. So that was a surprise. And I think what they've done really well is we've got a lot of the basics down pretty good. If nothing else, they're very consistent, So as a good foundation, they can tack and jibe really consistently. And they've shown that in the racing. I think if we had a little table of jibes or tacks where people have fallen off the fours, we wouldn't have very many. And I think that's been really important. And then the other thing that they've really brought is good starting. I think between the two events, the starting's been strong. And what that does is obviously it puts you at the front of the fleet, but it also puts you out of the mess. And the reality is that sailing of the boat becomes much harder when you're in the mess. So obviously we made the final race, and the same three boats as Bermuda. I think the Aussies and the British sail the boat really well. So once you take away all the other boats, it's always a really big challenge against those two boats because they don't leave many meters behind. So you got to be sailing the boat really accurately, and you've got to be starting really well. And if you do that, you'll probably be first to Mark 1. And if you're first at Mark 1, there's not a lot of passing opportunities, especially against them. And actually, that's what we saw today. Is actually we got a pretty good start, but the Aussies were fractionally faster than us at start time, which meant they just rolled us before Mark 1. And then they had the lead. They were then in the box seat, essentially, and they could sail the best route around the course, and we had to decide from there whether to follow or split. We decided to follow at first because the wind looked better on the side of the course that the Australians were going to, and in the end we had to settle for second. So if you have any questions, please leave them for us, and we'll try and answer them at the next Coach's Corner. See you in Plymouth.